Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Bill Crane Report with Duane Weiss. And I'd like to welcome you on board and welcome to the quiet hour.
It'll be quiet.
For you folks who have never tuned in before, you're in for a treat. For the next hour, my friend Duane Weiss and I discuss different subjects in a kindly and gentle fashion. Yes, propriety is very important with us. Now, on today's show, we'll discuss table manners, 27 different ways to write a thank you note to a dear friend, a swell recipe for carrots sauteed in mustard and beer, and finally, picking out the proper furniture polish for dining room tables and chairs.
You know, it's a good thing I don't know the agenda before I come. I probably wouldn't have showed up today.
But before we get to these fascinating subjects, we have a few others we have to dispose of. Duane, please give us your thoughts on the Republican and Democratic national conventions. I know the Democrats oppose fences and walls, but they threw up a 4-mile fence surrounding their convention center, 8 feet high, with armed police dogs everywhere with assault weapons strapped to their backs.
The assault weapons is the one that amazed me. I said, how could they carry those assault weapons?
Well, you give them a dog bone or two, and I'll tell you, they'll do anything. Now,
you know my impression about both of them was, don't they have microphones?
Yeah.
Everyone yelled.
Oh, I know. But I was glad Hillary yelled, because she is the most unbecoming person in the world when she starts screaming.
When that voice gets loud, it's terrible.
So the fence. Now, was this to keep the unruly bad lot that had gathered inside from getting out, or was it to keep the other folks from breaking in?
It all depends on the perspective you look at. You and I see the bad ones getting out. They see the bad ones getting in.
If it's the latter, who the devil would want to get in and take part in that horror show? So what'd you think of both conventions?
I was a little disappointed. I expected a little more facts, agendas, programs, platforms. There wasn't much of that. It was all bad Trump, bad Trump, bad Trump.
Yeah. You know, Donald Trump has one chance, it seems to me. He has got to stick to defense, terrorism, the police, and law and order in this country, and finally, and maybe most importantly of all, the economy. Nothing else. Don't talk about anything else.
Don't get involved in other picky-uni stuff.
However, this morning, it's as though he had a headset on that was able to come in and read my thoughts. And I've written about this many years ago. We keep talking about the infrastructure. It's crumbling. Okay, we got to do something about it. The Republicans don't want to hear about raising taxes.
No.
And the Democrats want to raise taxes way the hell above and beyond, you know. So why not reinvigorate an old program called war bonds? Okay? And we'll call them infrastructure bonds. It could be Repair America bonds.
That's right.
And we'll sell them, because there are a lot of people that are looking to buy safe bonds.
Something that was going to return some investment.
Decent yield, 4.5% or 5%, and sell them in 30-year or 20-year denominations with every bloody penny going to the infrastructure.
Right.
Now,
that would work.
Who wouldn't like that?
I
That's exactly what Trump said this morning. This is as though he was reading my mind.
And another thing, put in, right now, gas is just tumbling again. And it tumbles 6, 7 cents a time, 8 cents a time. Well, put in a nickel gas tax on it, but let it go. If it gets past $3.50 or something, that goes off.
Bingo.
You know, make it a scale.
Yeah.
But while gas is cheap, and I mean cheap, not cheap, but cheap, relatively cheap. Who the hell would know a dime or a nickel or a dime a
I
gallon?
paid $2.05 the other day for gas. So you put a dime on it, and it's $2.15.
Nobody noticed.
I think I got 12 gallons.
Yep.
Wow, that's $1.20. And you put that in for a specific use, roads.
Roads, bridges, and structures
Yep.
like that. And that would bring in billions of dollars.
Of course it would. But you know, the Republicans, the crazy side of the Republican Party,
Oh, yeah.
okay, the Tea Party, no new taxes. Take the pledge. No new taxes.
That's right.
That idiot Grover Norquist.
Oh, my God.
He is the worst thing that happened to the Republican Party, I'm telling you. And look, if we expect more out of government, if our population grows, more people go on Social Security, more people go on Medicaid, how in the hell can you avoid raising taxes from time to time
you can't,
to keep
it up
with it?
Yep.
You know? I mean, it's madness.
Even think like Medicare. Oh, this is or Social Security, Medicare. It's going to run out on 2037 or 2035, whatever it is. Well, it probably will if you keep what it is.
Sure.
But a stupid him thinks take the end cap or take the ceiling off of Social Security. Well, I don't know what it is now, 100-some thousand.
Yes, I guess around 110 or
Yeah, but
150.
just let it go.
Run it up to 400,000.
Who cares?
And
Who
if
cares
that
where it
doesn't
goes?
work, run it up to $1 million.
Yeah, because when you get up in that level, those people can afford it. They don't miss it anyway.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more. There are plans where we can handle this, but neither party has the guts to make the first move because the other party is waiting for it so they can jump all over.
Pounce on them just like a.
So, I tell you, if we're looking for another reason to hate politicians, boy, this is it.
Yeah.
This inactivity on Medicare, Medicaid, and
Social
Security, it is obscene.
Yep, it is.
They could have fixed this 10 years ago, and we could have been in much better shape than we are today.
And stop raiding those funds for everything else but what they're intended for.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
It's like a pot of money. Every time they need something from some weird program, they reach in that pot.
Oh, they raided that Social Security Reserve Fund.
Yep.
But the Democrats pushed it, and the Republicans went along with it.
Sure they did.
They should both be boiled in oil. So, have you got any other thoughts about the conventions?
It didn't mean anything today.
No.
It didn't. At this time, it didn't really mean.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, I was really hoping Bernie was going to make a fuss.
He didn't.
But he didn't.
He rolled over and played dead.
Yep, no spine, no backbone.
Sure, because he said to him, now listen, you crazy old coot.
Oh, yeah.
If you want anything from us when we're in power, shut up.
Yeah,
and support the ticket, or else go in the back room and slit your throat.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're going to do if you continue this.
I waited for him to speak, and then I thought, I was so disappointed. Even if it wasn't effective, I just wanted to see a little fight on the floor to going on.
A little food fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was terrible. By the way, speaking of terrible, very interesting story came out this morning.
Okay.
Lockhart, Texas. The hot air balloon
Oh, that one,
that crashed, killing 16 people when it hit electrical lines, was piloted by a man who had at least 4 convictions for drunken driving and twice served prison terms.
That's right.
Huh?
That's what I thought, too.
I mean, what?
How could he maintain and there's a pilot's license, a balloon
There's
pilot's
got to
license,
be.
and it's administered by the FAA.
Yeah.
How could he pass the physical or not lose that license? If he was a commercial pilot,
Oh, yeah.
fixed wing, he'd have lost that license the first or second time he got a DUI, maybe the first time.
I think so. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I'm going to start off with reading a story.
Okay.
And folks, bear with me. This is going to be a two-part deal, but this is a fascinating story, and I'm going to tie it together.
Get the popcorn ready.
Get the popcorn ready is right. Anybody that needs to hit the head, go do it now.
Yep. Okay.
Are crows the smartest animals in Maine?
I think they're right up there.
Ask a hunter. Thousands of Mainers are being watched closely every day without their knowledge. Prying eyes follow us to the mailbox when we walk the dog, pick tomatoes, and most certainly the day and hour that garbage is taken outside to be collected. The spies are American crows. The shiny black birds know infinitely more about us than we know about them. Scott Davis is a biologist for the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. He's been studying crows forever. He was a crow hunter, still is. He said, with a laugh about his success hunting, he said, oh yeah, he says, crows are very smart, much keener than waterfowl, which I hunt a lot too. Davis once lived on the River Road in Benton between two of Maine's largest dairy farms. Every winter morning, several hundred crows flew over my house to feed on the flood farm. After I hunted them a few times, several hundred. After I hunted them a few times, they learned to veer around my house on their flight path to the farm. And get this, I never hunted crows from my house, but the birds recognized and remembered me as a crow hunter. They knew where I lived. Researchers are just beginning to understand and appreciate what Davis has known for many years. Crows are among the smartest birds in the world. Relative to their body size, a crow's brain is as large as a chimpanzee's. And a crow has a well-developed hippocampus, a region of the brain responsible for memory. Davis's first-hand knowledge of crow intelligence is supported by research. Crows study people and can distinguish us by the way we walk and how we dress.
I got something to add about crows. Go ahead.
And this part, this is really something. Older crows pass on an accumulated wealth of knowledge to younger crows in a manner not unlike grandparents teaching grandchildren the finer points of fishing. Sharing information via a complex crow language is a big part of the bird's survival modus operandi. Crows know the flood farm as well, if not better than I do, added Davis. If anything appears out of the ordinary, such as a newly broken down piece of machinery or a plastic owl decoy, the birds are on full alert. They're very curious animals, and successful hunters learn to use crow curiosity against them. In urban parlance, crows are street smart. My friend Chris is also intrigued by crow behavior. Chris doesn't hunt crows, but that hasn't stopped him from observing them. In May, this is unbelievable. In May, during the annual smelt run, he made a fascinating discovery. For quite a few years, the crow population increases on Fish Pond during the smelt run, said Chris. Trout fishermen show up then too. The chubs they catch are tossed onto a beach. A few hours after, I first noticed a dozen or so beached chubs. Crows landed on the sand and began poking holes in the chubs' stomachs. I watched them extract partially digested smelts. Crows weren't interested in chub meat. They figured out that the delicacy of smelts resided inside
the
each
chub.
chub. That's pretty clever when you stop and think about it. In other words, crows are capable of thinking analytically and solving complex problems, like finding hidden food inside a chub, thanks to forebrains not found in most birds. Kat McGowan, in an Audubon magazine article, wrote about crow intelligence. To test crow memory, McGowan reports, Washington scientist John Matzloff and his students wore latex caveman masks while trapping and banding crows on the school's campus. Weeks later, Matzloff and his students returned to the campus trap sites mask-free, or wore a Dick Cheney mask. Crows ignored them. However, when researchers donned a caveman mask, they were mobbed and dive-bombed by angry crows. Amazingly, the majority of crows that had not been trapped or banded also participated in terrorizing researchers.
Oh, yeah. They learn.
The caveman mask was then retired for 10 years. When it was worn again recently, a new generation of crows, ones never exposed to the mask or the indignation of being live trapped, reacted as angrily as their parents and grandparents, most of whom had died long ago of old age. Matzloff's research proves that crows transfer knowledge from one generation to succeeding ones. Until recently, mental time travel, the ability to remember where you were during a certain event, was thought of. Hey, where's page 2 here? No. Here it
There
is.
you go.
Was thought of as a human-only trait. For example, many older Red Sox fans remember where they were in September 1978 when Bucky Dent homered at Fenway Park during that one-game playoff with the Yankees. Turns out that crows also have an innate ability to remember what happened in the past and apply it to the future, such as where they've cached food to be retrieved later when food is scarce. In February 2016, I met a young Maine hunter who had been schooled by crows. The previous day, during his first crow hunt, he had shot 3 crows. I did my homework by scouting hunting spots on the Flood farm. I wore tan insulated coveralls identical to ones worn by dairy farmers, walking between barns. I figured crows were acclimated to the clothing, and I was right. Day 2 didn't go as planned. He never fired the shotgun. Man, I get a lot to learn about crow hunting, he said with a laugh. I wore the same clothes as yesterday, but those doggone crows didn't come within 300 yards of me. But here's the head scratcher. The birds weren't afraid of dairy farmers dressed like me. You see, I carried a shotgun. The farmers didn't.
Yep.
The crows identified me as the one to avoid. They're the smartest darned animals I ever hunted. Unless I learn on the fly, I might never shoot another one. But he's looking anyway to the next hunting season. The point, I guess, I think what I'll do is I'll read the second article and then I'll make my point. President Obama expresses hope but says policing issues remain. There is no doubt that police departments still feel embattled and unjustly accused. And there is no doubt that minority communities of color, still feel like it takes too long to do what's right. We have to, as a country, sit down and just grind it out. Obama spoke about building trust between law enforcement and communities of color. That trust, he said, will take time to achieve. The pace of change is going to feel too fast for some and too slow for others. And sadly, because this is a huge country that is very diverse, and we have a lot of police departments, I think it's fair to say that we will see more tension between police and communities this month, next year, for quite some time. The deaths have opened the latest chapter in what has become an increasingly passionate debate in America over racial justice, discrimination, and violence. Obama has conceded in recent days that he has felt powerless to shift the conversation or the realities driving it, whether by legislation or by rhetoric. A cruel irony for the first African-American president who campaigned for the White House, arguing there was no such thing as Black America, no such thing as white America. Obama held a similar series of meetings 2 years ago after tensions boiled, following a police shooting in Ferguson, Missouri, that sparked protests and rioting. Those meetings prompted the president to provide federal funding for community policing and anti-bias efforts, including money for purchasing body-worn cameras. He also created a policing task force that gave recommendations last year on how to build trust between law enforcement and the communities they protect. At the same time, racial justice activists, including those involved in Black Lives Matter, have expressed frustration with Obama for his expressions of sympathy with the police serving in African American communities ravaged by poverty and violence. My point, communication. Our president fails. Crows communicate better than humans.
Maybe we should have a crow in the office.
We let skin color and past hatreds interfere with our ability to communicate. Crows learn from their mistakes. Humans rarely do.
They don't. They never
For
will.
shame.
They haven't learned in history. Look, thousands of years.
Yeah. And Obama, there is no Black America, no white America. There is America. Well, now he has to deal with the blacks over here and the whites over here. Got to say this to this bunch, that to this bunch, but we can't seem to get the two bunches to sit down
part of
and talk.
Part of that's his own doing.
It is all his own doing. He's had 7 years to sit down with the two races and say, we have got to start to talk, or else we're going to go down the tubes.
When there's white policemen and black victims happen, you can't stand up there half an hour later and start playing judge and jury when you don't know the whole facts. You've already set the thing on fire.
Till we realize the frustrations that black people feel over their lot in life, and until we realize the pressures that police are under to keep a lid on things, to keep us safe, we're done.
Yeah, we can.
Crows do a better job of interfacing with one another. Now, isn't that something?
Yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Not to change the subject, to
No.
continue with crows. I've got a couple crows in my backyard.
Boy.
I feed the birds. And I don't always feed them bird food. Sometimes I feed them bread, rolls, potato chips. They love leftover French fries. And so I'll sit there in the morning. His racket is outside. You know how that cawing starts?
Yup.
Well, Monica says, they're calling you. Sure as hell, they're in the trees, just waiting for me to bring something out. If there's nothing out there, they call me to bring it out.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I go in the house and boom, down they come. But you know, there's always one that sits in the tree. He's the watch.
He's the watchman.
Yep.
He's the guard.
He looks for the danger.
Yep.
And
We have got so much to learn.
I also have a red-tailed hawk.
Oh boy,
right in there.
they are great.
Oh, they're beautiful. But when he's around, all it takes is one of those crows to make a certain kind of a caw. It's a different
Yeah.
kind of caw. Within 2 minutes, he's got 10 or 15 crows show up.
We had a lot more birds when I was a kid because we had a lot less houses in Norfolk. We only had 1,000 people.
Yeah, okay.
And my grandfather was a hunter, a fisherman, a trapper, a naturalist. And he taught me from I was this big about animals and birds and stuff. So one day he said to me, Billy, can you hear those crows? I said, yeah, I can, Gramp. They keep getting louder.
Yeah.
He says, let's take a walk down the woods very carefully. He said, I'm going to tell you what they found. They found an owl out in the daytime, and they are raising hell with them.
They flock around him. They just overwhelm them.
And
You can tell when they're mad. They got a whole different sound than
oh, yeah, yeah. And we never could find the owl, but because the crows kind of were fluttering around here, there, and everywhere.
They do that in my yard when that red-tailed hawk comes around.
Yeah. They're an amazing bunch, boy. And they're communicating. They're saying, hey, we got an owl over here. Oh, unbelievable. All right, I have a question for
Go
you.
ahead.
The FBI investigates me.
Yep. What, again?
And again.
Holy cow, Bill.
And I am subpoenaed
Yep.
and ordered to hand over all my emails.
Yep.
And I pick some and hand them over and delete all the rest.
Well,
What will happen to me?
it's called obstruction of justice. You would be behind bars.
But,
I know, but somebody wasn't. Somebody isn't.
Mrs. Clinton deleted thousands upon thousands of them. She said they were my personal
If
emails.
we did anything like that, if we even violated the Securities Act handling classified information, you and I would both be in Leavenworth.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Folks, we have awards on my show here. So I'm going to come up with a new one called the Bozo Pear Award. And it goes to John Kasich and Charlie Baker for their gutless performance at the Republican convention. They're both no-shows.
Yep.
Kasich didn't even have the decency to meet Trump at the airport, welcome him to Cleveland.
To his own state.
Nothing.
Yep.
As the governor of the state, and Charlie Baker is
Oh, he was afraid to go.
is a one-term governor. He is dead. He might as well lay down.
Yep.
Real courageous on their part. Boy. I have a Trump for President ball cap.
You do, okay.
I wear it occasionally. And I would like to tell you, I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and said, I love your hat.
I was just going to ask what the reaction of that was going to be.
Not one person has said to me, you bum, or you idiot, or get away from me, you scab.
You're apt
Not
to get
one.
better around here because it's a Republican town.
Yeah.
Than you will some
Other
Brookline or
place, yes.
Brookline or Cambridge. You wouldn't dare do that.
I would.
I know you
Yeah,
would, but not prudently.
Yeah. But I have had people say to me, I love your hat, and I wished I dared to wear
Yep,
one.
that's the whole point.
What have we become when people are afraid to express
The
themselves?
media has done that.
Of course they have.
They have made this thing such that if you're not for Hillary, you are against the country or against humanities, and you kill puppies for hobbies.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. But the key to this election again is going to be how many unknowns are out there.
Independence.
Yeah, I'll call you independents. I call them unknowns that don't say anything. Go to work every day, come home.
Yeah. Now we're also going to see results of polls
Yep.
with Hillary with huge leads. Because let me tell you something, these pollsters are about as honest as Dillinger was back in the old days.
Yeah,
They're going to rig this,
Yeah.
the poll results, to show her with a 10-point lead or something.
Well, polls have become a political campaign
Of course
itself.
they have. And these scabs get paid by television networks and radio networks to produce their results. Yeah, they produce their results in the back room at night. They do it in about a half an hour. Let's see, 44% Hillary, 37% Trump, 12% undecided, 10% drunk. And that's it.
That's it.
Okay? They just make them up.
Another thing, I heard this theory and I believe it. Hillary's success in the coming election depends on her going after Trump, not on her own merits, not on her own platform, what she's going to do. She has to emphasize, don't vote for Trump. Not so much vote for me, don't vote for Trump.
That's exactly right.
And the media is doing that now too.
Sure.
Today in the Globe, there's about 4 pages, all anti-Trump.
The Attleboro Sun, the Chronicle.
Nothing about pro-Hillary.
Nope.
But all anti-Trump. Whole pages of it.
Yeah, because, 68% of the people don't trust her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she goes the other way, she's going to lose.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too, and you're absolutely right about the independents and the unknowns. There's an awful lot of them laying in the weeds, and they won't tell the pollsters what they're going to do.
They're just not that kind of people.
They're not approached by pollsters.
That's right. They're not even asked.
Approached by.
No.
Have you ever been called and asked?
No.
No, neither have I.
Well, I did one time. Somebody wanted a $25 donation for some. I don't know which party it was.
I got a call from a guy in North Attleboro. Yeah, close to your hometown. Hey, listen, Bill, how's everything going? I'm from the Chief of Police's Association of Massachusetts, and we're raising funds. I'm a paid fundraiser now. I can tell you that right up front. But anyway, we'd like to put you down for $100, the Gold Circle. He said, if you can't do that, can you do 75? If you can't do that, can you do 50? I said, listen, I'm sorry, old-timer, but let me tell you something. I don't respond to telephone solicitations for anything, okay? So see you later. Well, now we need your support for the police. I said, I support the Norfolk police. They send out a fundraiser every year. I respond every year.
Yep.
And that's who I do. And it stays in Norfolk, and 100% of it goes for the police or for their charities. I said, see you later.
Yeah.
Folks, don't respond to these people. No matter how
That's right.
they try to ingratiate themselves to you. They are paid to raise funds. And when you send in your money, about 50 or 75 cents on the dollar goes to these clowns for calling you.
If not
Maybe
more.
25 or 30% goes to the charity. I had one day, and I asked him, and he said, over 80% is for fundraising. He said 12% goes to the children. But obviously they'd get burnt because he volunteered. Yeah.
Well, you can find out. There's a website.
Yeah,
They require by law, but you got to go in online and you got to.
Yeah, you got to do some horsing around. Melania Trump was criticized over her speech. There was a few lines in there that have been grabbed someplace else. You know what? The English language is not finite. No. There is not an endless supply of words and phrases.
Those phrases that she used have been used hundreds and hundreds of times in other speeches.
Right.
Or in common conversations, too.
Yep.
It's a common way of saying things.
Of course it is. I mean, she was criticized, and yet Hillary Clinton probably gave the worst speech of the century, and she gets a pass.
Of course. It's just...
She's a woman that's never had an original thought in her political career. The only way she can deliver a speech is to read it off a teleprompter. And yet, Melania gave a very heartfelt speech. I thought it was, in fact, I would say that's the best speech of the both conventions.
Well, you're probably right.
Oh, I liked Rudy Giuliani's short warm-up too. It was good.
He's getting better to watch all the time.
I'm telling you, he's beautiful. How about, let's see here. You know, I got stuff piled here in little piles here, but Harry Reid. Boy, I'll tell you,
Cannot stand that guy.
he's a nice guy. You know, Harry.
You invite him for dinner. I don't
Yeah.
care for him.
He wants Donald Trump to receive fake intelligence briefings.
I know.
Yeah. He implored intelligence officials tasked with giving classified briefings to Donald Trump during the presidential campaign not to actually divulge important information.
That's Harry Reid. Harry Reid's an idiot. But
There is probably a lower form of life than Harry Reid.
not on dry land.
No, it lives under rocks and just crawls out at night or something. What a bum.
That whole idea, though, I don't understand. Maybe you do. Why is it necessary to brief these two now with secret and very sensitive information? Neither one's elected yet. It's a long ways down the road. Wait until the election, then have a couple of days of work with them. Why do you want to give it to them now?
I wonder if, we get a lot of stuff cooking, and I wonder if they don't want the candidates speculating about something very sensitive.
That could be.
And
Accidentally get onto something.
Yeah, and they say, don't, so
Yeah, you can tell them stay away from that.
Duane, don't go there.
Yeah. Because I don't trust either one of them.
No.
Oh, man.
Oh, and how can you trust her?
Yeah.
And
him,
his mouth is,
his mouth just gets going.
it's on overdrive constantly.
I know something you don't know.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, anyway. Now, I have something here. I worry about things like this. Wrong way crash kills 2 on I-495.
Yeah, right down the road here.
Yep. 2 people are dead following a head-on crash in Mansfield yesterday morning. The state police say appears to have been the tragic result of a wrong-way driver. So, my question is this. We've had a spate of these things of late. The person that caused the accident, can he or she read English? Can they read the signs?
You'd think they could.
Well,
Because when you're facing them, they can say wrong way, wrong
Yeah.
way, wrong way.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder whether or not these people, A, have licenses, B, can read English.
I suspect that sometimes these things there's adult beverages involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, drugs.
Possibly.
Yeah. I'm a 24-year-old lady was responsible for this at 2 a.m. So I think that perhaps a combination of adult beverages and smoke.
That time element and the age and everything else.
But I still want to know whether or not they're, because if they're not.
Yeah, because they're looking at how are you going to stop it. They had one idea. It's a good idea, but I don't think it'll stop it. They have a sign that is when the headlights hit it, it lights up real bright with LED lights on warning. It says stop.
Do you know
wrong
there's
way,
one
wrong
up
way.
in Franklin?
Oh, they got one
on a very dangerous intersection where there's been accidents.
Yep.
They've got that go boop, boop,
Yep.
boop, boop at you.
It's great.
Yeah, and those are good. But it bothers me to see people getting driver's licenses, and when they take the test in Latvian or Estonian or Greek or whatever, you got to be able to function.
I know. I don't know how you could. How could we go to Greece? Can't speak Greece and get a driver's license.
Well, here's the thing. Over
We
there,
can't even read the signs.
over there, they have international symbols
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
that of all through Europe are the same.
Yeah.
The circle with the dot, the circle with the line through it, and so on. There's 55 of them. I had to know all 55 before I could get an international driver's license over there. Now, obviously, you were not down in New York, at the hot dog eating contest when Joey Chestnut eats 70 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
I got indigestion reading about it.
I could eat 3. That would be about it.
How in the hell can you eat that many? And he's not that big a guy.
No, he ate 17 more than the runner-up guy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. At Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs on Coney Island. Wow.
My blood pressure would be, well, first of all, that volume, but there's so much salt in something like a Nathan's hot dog.
Do you think he goes afterwards and
Burgess,
gets the babies back out?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because that would be unhealthy.
I know they have to
as
hold
hell.
it for so many minutes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
After that, I think it almost have to be because
You got to
Right.
purge that stuff out.
the sodium, the fat content, you're just killing your liver.
Oh, yeah.
With that much food jammed down your throat.
Well, all I can say is that's not the kind of contest I
No.
want to involve myself in. Now, here's a subject here that really talks me off. Chandra Levy. She was murdered in 2001
Yep.
in a park in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
They found her bones, skeletal remains, I think is the way they...
That's the
along a jogging trail in the park. 8 years after they discovered her skeletal remains, they charged this guy who had confessed in prison.
Yep.
Well, now they're releasing him. And they're obviously, without saying it, they're saying we got the wrong guy. So here's the part that gets me. And I was furious at the time. Gary Condit, the congressman from California that was hitting on her, was her live-in boyfriend, not live-in, but her lover.
Yep.
Married with children, by the way.
Of course.
But nonetheless, he lied and misled the police. And he was never prosecuted for leading the police astray, obstructing justice, lying to the police, whatever. Never.
Right.
Oh, you're a congressman. Well,
Well,
okay.
Go back through history and see how many have had
Yeah.
trouble and just skated.
What a bum. What an absolute scab.
Yeah.
And the voters threw him out the next term, and I don't know
They're
what
lucky. Here they would have made him Speaker of the House.
Yeah. I'll tell you. Now, what are they going to do about this? There is a school of thought that still maintains that Condit killed her.
I don't know.
And supposedly now, I don't know. You know what? I'm not even going to say that. I read it on the internet, and half the crap you read
that's
on the
wrong.
internet is
Yeah.
nonsense. But here's a woman, a young woman, I don't know what, 24, 26, 28 years old, a beautiful woman,
Oh yeah, she was very
murdered.
attractive.
Her whole life ahead of her, and Gary Condit was her lover, and he lied to the police about having any knowledge about her at all, denied having any affair with her at all, and it wasn't until later on that he finally yeah.
Well, who said I did not have sex with that woman?
Someone
we
remember
know.
that. Yeah, I'll remember who
Finally
that
it came
was.
out. Well, maybe you just did.
Yes. You know, Charlie Baker is a one-term governor.
I think so too.
But this business of he declined to light the Zakim Bridge in blue
Yeah.
after that the murders down in Baton Rouge. I just don't know. Marty Walsh, who no love affair with Marty,
the
he
Looney
said,
Tune in Somerville. It won't take the Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
off the police station
yeah,
thing.
that's been up for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marty Walsh said he absolutely would support lighting both the Zachem and the City Hall blue in solidarity, but said that don't have the money, $76,000 to install the lighting and all of that. But he broke with the governor, and he said the governor was wrong. I don't know. I just.
I thought the Zachem had the ability of changing colors.
They do. But the governor refused to go along with it.
Yeah.
This is his rationale. I think choosing sides in this conversation is a bad idea. I think the best we can do, and the thing that we all ought to do, is remember that everybody is somebody's son or daughter, and to start there. Baker said yesterday when asked if he considered the gesture. I don't think at this point we should be picking out one group over another. My view at this point is I want people to talk, period, and engage in dialogue and put down their weapons. Well, that's great, Governor, but you had a chance to stand up and say, hey, these guys out there are putting their life on the line every day,
Yep.
and this was a terrible thing. I'm going to skip ahead to this. And then you have something you want to read.
Yes, we have a.
Town of Norfolk, Department of Public Works. You didn't get one of these because you are not a water take. You're not on the water system.
I'm not on the water system.
Well, Bob McGee sent out this love note. Mandatory outside water use restrictions. I'm not going to bore you all by reading it. But the bottom line. Thanks for helping us to conserve Norfolk's most precious resource. Where are they, out of their minds? This show is Norfolk's most precious resource.
Yeah, I was going to say you and I.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a break. Come on, McGee. Sober up. God.
I didn't say that.
Oh, I get more stuff to rave about, but let's have a break here.
Well, next week we got the anniversary coming up of it's a very serious matter. It was a lifesaver and a life taker. That was the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. It was the end, what brought the war to the end, or the end of the war with Japan that nobody thought was ever going to come. Everybody believed, rightly so, that Japan was going to fight to the last standing man, woman, and child. They were already teaching them sharpened up bamboo stakes to fight like lances or spears. They didn't care. They were going to die for the emperor. Well, along comes, everybody knows the story of the atomic bomb. But then, after something like that happens, then there's always the second guessers. Should we have done it?
Remorse sets in.
Or should we have not? And then they got guilty. Well, this is from the VFW magazine, and it's a little view by Truman shortly afterwards. And he says, 71 years ago, 71 years ago we were bombed in Pearl Harbor. Now we've used it against those who attacked us without warning, against those who have starved, beaten, and executed American prisoners of war, against those who have abandoned all pretense of obeying international laws of warfare. We have used it in order to shorten the agony of war, in order to save lives of thousands and thousands and thousands of young Americans, not to mention millions of Japanese lives. I thought that was well put in those days too. He didn't rant, he didn't rave, he just said exactly what it was.
He was a pretty blunt guy.
Yeah. Even the Marine vet, James Martin, who was a nephew of Thomas Freeby, was the bombardier on the Enola Gay. obviously the bombardier is long past it, but he says no apology is necessary for sparing Japan the unspeakable horror of an invasion. No contrition is needed for an act that preserved hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of lives.
Look, we had Japan surrounded.
Yep.
Nothing was going in there, nothing was
would come
coming
out.
out of there. Okay? If we had to invade Japan, it would have cost us, without even thinking about the money,
Yep.
in lives,
Well,
the best estimate we had was a million
casualties.
casualties. Now, that probably is 150,000, 200,000 lives,
yep.
800,000 guys wounded or maimed, to get into Japan and to subdue them. Well, in doing so, the Japanese military would have seized the food supply, and so they could defend their island land, and the people would have starved to death.
Absolutely.
It would have been a horrible natural disaster. So we not only saved American lives, but we saved millions
of Japanese
lives.
Yep.
What we did was the right thing. We were attacked. Let's not lose sight of that fact. Now, did we hasten that up by cutting off the oil supply to Japan? Sure we did.
Of course.
Yeah, because we were outraged by what? Their adventures in China and Manchuria. Not China and Manchuria, Korea. So we didn't ask for that. They did it.
Yep.
And we took the best option to end the war.
Yep. Because it would have went on to the last man.
Yeah, like Okinawa, the big battle that preceded this.
At this time, Okinawa was going on.
That's right.
That's when they unleashed the real kamikaze attacks, where they would dive bomb onto or suicide attacks.
Yep.
They were signing up. People were just lining up to sign up.
They said that 25,000 Japanese soldiers died on Okinawa. I think 7 or 8 surrendered.
Yeah.
All the rest fought to the very end.
The civilian population was jumping off the cliffs.
Sure. They had no choice, you know. It was dreadful.
My uncle was on the carrier USS Bunker Hill, and they took devastating hit by a kamikaze.
Yeah.
So it was about 11 o'clock in the morning. They came out of the sun. That's they always attack from the sun.
Sure.
And he said they hit the deck. One of them hit the deck, and they went down 3 or 4 layers, and exploded way down in the thing, and the fuel and everything else, and the planes that were down there all blew up. But he said it was nonstop. They were burning. They could see all the other ships. They came in waves, one after another, just bearing down on them. And if the anti-aircraft didn't hit them out of the air, they would hit.
Yeah.
But he said, fortunately, again, they were down to their last pilots. And these guys some had probably 2 or 3 or 4 hours of flight time.
Exactly.
And they really couldn't hit, they weren't good at hitting a ship.
Right.
You'd think it would be pretty easy, but it's not at 400 or 500 miles an hour.
It's not when you're dive bombing, at 400 or 500 miles an hour, and that's the speed that they reach when they do that, yeah. Well, it was a hell of a way to end the war.
Yeah.
Okinawa, and then the 2 nuclear bombs. Charles Sweeney and Paul Tibbets were the 2 pilots.
2 pilots, yep.
And Sweeney had Massachusetts.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They dropped Little Boy and Fat
Man, yep.
That's right. Well, it was something that had to be done.
Had to be done, yep.
Yeah.
But they said at 1945, 85 or 88% agreed with it.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And then as the years went on, the pros got lower and lower.
Buyer's regret.
Yeah. But still, it's at 65 today, 65 years of age, 70% of the Americans still agree with it.
Sure.
But when you get into the younger generations, they said they just don't. They're preposterous. A lot of them don't even know anything about it.
They don't know anything about it because they're not taught anything about it. You know, our school systems are, I don't know. I talked to some of the kids in my CCD class, and thank you, Chris, and was one of them said, you know, why don't they teach us the stuff?
I don't know why. I don't know why they don't either.
I don't know. Terrible. I think I pretty much got through just about everything I wanted to get through of the easy stuff.
I have a
Go ahead. Shoot.
pro or con. Starting today, there's going to be a TV blitz about charter schools. The vote is going to come up in November. One of all these, there's 4 or 5 points that are going to be, and you're going to see a lot of them that say, vote for restricting charter schools. Just remember who's doing that. They're not going to say who they are, but it's the Mass Teachers Association, the Federation of Teachers, and the National Education Association are behind that.
That's right.
And the reason they're behind that is that charter schools are not union. Shocker, but they're not.
No.
That's why
the kids get a better education, but they get
not
it
unionized.
from non-union.
That's right.
And so they would stop the kids from get a better education?
Bill, don't you remember, no matter what kind of strike they were going on, what kind of negotiations, it was never about our raise. It's for the children. It was always for the children.
I keep losing sight of that. Foolish me.
I know. But when you see these ads, just remember who's putting them out
Who's paying for
and
it?
what's the objective here is.
And who pumped almost or more than $400,000 into Marty Walsh's campaign for the mayor
The teacher
at the
union.
12th hour for a huge media blitz? And Marty said, I don't know where that money came from. I had no idea.
The good fairy just left it on my desk.
And his nose grew 18 inches when he said that. Oh, boy. Well, I'll tell you. Friends, we've just got the double whammy wave that says it's over.
I want to thank, though, our Midwest viewers. Believe it or not, we have a bunch of Midwest viewers. I'm getting feedback from them. And I want to thank you for watching and tell all your friends and neighbors, too.
Absolutely. And I have 2 friends that I recently talked to, one in Buffalo, New York, and one in Cleveland, Ohio, that are signing up for the program, too.
Good.
So we'll infect the country yet.
Yep.
Very good. Well, folks, have a great week or 2, and we'll be back at you soon with more good stuff.
Take care.